Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our May 17th Board of Education meeting. Please join us for a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So before we get started with our agenda, I'm going to make a motion to appoint Gabriella Peruccio, our district clerk, for the evening, since our clerk is over at the polls monitoring and managing that whole process. So can I get a motion? Chris Repetto, seconded by Vivek Kamath. All those in favor? 6-0. And then we will move on to special recognitions.
Okay, so I'm actually going to move over to the podium for this. This is a very exciting night. So first, I'd like to welcome all of our colleagues and families and moms and dads and children, and thank you all for being here this evening. Earning tenure is an achievement that reflects years of education, practice, and the thoughtful and intensive application of knowledge and skill. Tonight, we are celebrating 15 tenure recipients. 2 of our recipients have already received tenure during the course of the school year and are joining us to be recognized and celebrated publicly. And this is a really special night because for the last 2 years, we have not had the chance to do this. And I was talking with folks earlier from the board, just the fact that we're all together celebrating such a wonderful accomplishment and having some good food and just chatting is a wonderful thing and a wonderful place to be. So first, and we'll do this in alphabetical order, Brianna Castileo. Brianna was awarded tenure at the December 14, 2021 Board of Education meeting. Brianna came to the district in 2018 as an English as a new language teacher at Osborne School. She has served at both Osborne and Midland schools and has provided both integrated and standalone services across kindergarten through 5th grade. Before coming to Rye, she was an ENL and ELL teacher at Space Shuttle Columbia School, PS 58 in Staten Island, New York, and a private home tutor for students grades K to 5. She has a BA in Science, Letters, Society, Education, and an MS in Education with a plan in TESOL, both from CUNY Staten Island. And I do have to say, this is the only teacher I have ever hired that graduated from my high school. Not at the same time. I'm sure you noticed that. Congratulations, Brianna. Kristen DiMatteo. Kristen joined the district in 2018 as a special education teacher at Rye High School. Prior to coming to Rye, she was a special education teacher at the Union Square Academy for Health Science in Manhattan and a U.S. history teacher, special educator at the Equality Charter School in the Bronx. She began her teaching career as a kindergarten readiness co-teacher and a 3rd grade leave replacement teacher in the Franklin Square Union Free School District on Long Island. She has a BA in psychology and an MA from the Scholars Teacher Education Program, both from Adelphi University. Congratulations, Kristen. Claire Gilroy. Claire came to the Rye City School District in 2018 as a science teacher at Rye High School. Since that time, she has taught at the high school and co-taught an interdisciplinary course in the academy. Prior to working in Rye, she was a biology teacher leave replacement at Wallkill Senior High School. She did her student teaching at Owego Appalachian Middle School in Owego, New York. She has a BA in biological sciences and an MA in teaching with a major in biology adolescence education, both from Binghamton University. And I remember when I was set to interview Claire for the final interview, Suzanne called me and said, "It's the second one. Claire, you're going to love her like I do." And we all love Claire, just like Suzanne did back in the interview process. Congratulations. James Goldman. James joined the district in 2018 as an English teacher at Rye High School. Prior to coming to Rye, he was an English language arts teacher at Archbishop Stepinac High School in White Plains, New York. He has a BS in English from the college at Oneonta and an MS in English education from Long Island University, where his plan encompassed middle childhood education, English education, and adolescence English. And I know James has also done some coaching with us and has been a real great addition to the community. Congratulations. Margot Hackett. Margot came to the district as a special education leave replacement teacher at Rye Middle School in 2018. In 2019, she became a full-time special education teacher at Rye Middle School. Prior to working in Rye, she was a special education leave replacement teacher and a teaching assistant at John Jay Middle School in Katona. She began her teaching career as a first grade teacher at Emmanuel Lutheran School in Danbury, Connecticut. She has a BA in childhood education with a concentration in mathematics from Pace University and an MS with a major of teacher of students with disabilities from Mercy College. She currently serves as the Rye High School JV volleyball, Rye High School varsity girls basketball, and Rye Middle School modified softball coach. And when we hired Margot, she was the varsity coach of the John Jay basketball team, and I got in a lot of trouble with my good friend Andrew Selesnik, but Margot has been a great addition in so many ways to the school. Congratulations. Danielle Kelly, another basketball person from before coming to Rye. Danielle joined the Rye City School District in 2018 as a foreign language teacher at Rye Middle School. Prior to coming to Rye, she was a 7th grade ENL teacher at the Rose E. Scala School, PS 71 in the Bronx, and a Spanish teacher for grades 6 through 8 at the Union Square Academy for Health Science in Manhattan. She has a BA in Spanish Language and Literature Sociology from Fordham University, go Rams, I'm a Ram, and an MA in Spanish from Lehman College. Congratulations, Danielle. Steve Lennon came to the district in 2017 as a physical education leave replacement teacher at Midland and Osborne schools. After 2 years, he became a leave replacement teacher, physical education teacher at Milton and Osborne schools. Leave replacement all this time?
Long time.
In 2020, he joined Rye City School District full-time as a physical education teacher split between Milton and Osborne schools. And in his time in Rye, he's worked as a physical education teacher, an adaptive physical education teacher at all 3 elementary schools, and has taught all grade levels, kindergarten through 5th grade. I especially enjoyed observing Steve teaching virtually in the gym. Angela took me there last year, and he had this whole setup, he and John, and the kids were all watching and fully engaged. It was extraordinary. Thank goodness we're not in virtual land anymore. But prior to coming to Rye, he's an adaptive physical education teacher for grades 3 through 8 at PS 10X and an inclusion teacher at PS 152 in the Bronx. And Steve has actually led a renaissance of our varsity lacrosse program. Congratulations, Steve. Francesca Martellata. Francesca joined the Rye City School District in 2018 as a 3rd grade leave replacement teacher at Osborne School. After 2 years as a leave replacement, she joined the Osborne faculty full-time in 2020 as a 4th grade teacher. Before coming to Rye, she was a 3rd grade teacher at Long Lots Elementary School in Westport, Connecticut, and a 5th grade teacher at Canohada Elementary School in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Did I get that right?
Yeah, close, Ken.
Close enough. All right. She has a BA in elementary education from Loyola University and an MA with a major in teaching and foundations from Fairfield University. And I know Angela and I spent lots of time reassuring Francesca, don't worry, you're going to be here in Rye. So we're thrilled that you joined us.
So much.
Denise McCauley. Denise came to Rye High School in 2019 as a special education teacher. Before joining the Rye City School District, she was a resource room, self-contained, and ICT English teacher at Mount Vernon High School. I think it was all at the same time, too. And a special education teacher at Briarcliff Middle Schools. She has worked as a special education and a general education leave replacement teacher in Briarcliff Manor, Irvington, John Jay, and Ardsley school districts. She has a BA in sociology from Ithaca College and an MS in elementary education from Mercy College. And I truly enjoyed when we first hired Denise. Her brother, a former colleague, I did not know this at the time, called me up and told me what a great hire we made. And I concur. Denise has been a great addition to our staff. Tyler Sherray. Tyler joined the Rye City School District in 2018 as a music teacher at Rye Middle School. In addition to teaching classes, he is the assistant to the high school band and the high school jazz band. Before coming to Rye, he was a student teacher at Nest Plus M in Manhattan. Tyler is active in the Mid-Atlantic marching arts community. He's an individual analysis music facilitator overseeing 60 individual music adjudicators within the Tournament of Bands organization. He's the assistant brass caption head for the Philadelphia Thanksgiving Day Parade Marching Band and a consultant for the Symphonic Band at Monmouth College. He has a BFA of Music Performance, tuba, favorite fact to know about Tyler, from Carnegie Mellon University, and a Master of Music from the Manhattan School of Music, and a Master of Education in Music and Music Education from Teachers College, Columbia University. And while I was not there last night, he did quite the Oprah performance with a prize under one of the seats in the performance last night. That was a hit. And ice cream certificates for all the 8th graders under their seats. So congratulations, Tyler. Jamie Stabile. Jamie was awarded tenure at the September 28, 2021 Board of Education meeting. Jamie came to Rye in 2017 as a teaching assistant for special education. We arrived together. Later serving as a district-wide special education teacher. She joined the district full-time as a special education teacher at Rye High School in the fall of 2017. Since that time, she's worked in the tutoring center, overseeing the center, supervising 2 teaching assistants, and providing special education instruction. In addition, she has co-taught in ICT classrooms. She has a BA in English from the University at Albany and a Master of Professional Studies in English and Special Education from Manhattanville College. And she has had such an incredible impact on the culture of this school community and the positivity at Rye High School this year. Thank you and congratulations. Melissa Stone. Melissa came to the district in 2018 as a math teacher at Rye High School. Prior to coming to Rye, she was a math teacher leave replacement and special education math teacher leave replacement at Carmel High School. She has a BA in mathematics and a Master of Professional Studies with a major in special education generalist, both from Manhattanville College. And Melissa has worked in the academy since its inception here at the high school and has had an incredible impact on that program. And actually, before that, worked at the Rye School of Leadership and is also one of our wonderful coaches for the cheerleading squad that became a real competition cheer squad. So congratulations. Jennifer Tavolacci. Jen first came to Rye in 2011 as an elementary teacher leave replacement at Midland School. In subsequent years, she was a leave replacement at Milton and Osborne schools and a district-wide per diem substitute teacher. She joined Rye full-time as a special education teacher, as she was a gen ed teacher before that, and I talked her into becoming a special education teacher when we launched the ICT program over at Osborne, and has been an incredible foundational component of launching ICT. And she served in 4th and 5th grade as a special education teacher, supporting resource room and specialized reading programs. She has a BA in Spanish language and literature sociology from Fordham University, go Rams, and an MA from Lehman College. Congratulations, Jen. Jennifer Turoff. Jennifer joined the Rye City School District in 2018 as an ASL teacher at the high school. Prior to coming to Rye, she was a part-time ASL Deaf Studies teacher at the Red Hook Central School in in Red Hook, and before that at the Hyde Park Central School in Hyde Park, New York. From 1999 to 2018, she worked as a freelance sign language interpreter. She has a BA in dance from Adelphi University and a Master of Science in Special Education with a major in Special Education Deaf 1 from Hunter College. And I remember Jen's interview talking about the whole snow day issue and living way upstate where Jen lives and down here where she could have 3 feet of snow at home and we could have nothing here in Rye. She said, don't worry, I'm never going to miss a day, and she never misses a day. Congratulations, Jen. And we have one administrator tonight, Laura Cappiello. Laura came to the district in 2018 as assistant principal at Osborne School. Before coming to Rye, she was an instructional coach for literacy and math at Mamaroneck Avenue School in White Plains. She began her career in education as a 4th grade elementary teacher, also at Mamaroneck Avenue School. She has a BA in sociology from the University of Albany, a Master of Science in Teaching from Fordham University, you've heard the story before, go Rams, and a Master of Professional Studies in Educational Leadership from Manhattanville College. And I also got in trouble when we hired Laura because we hired her mid-year, and Joe Ricca was not too happy with me over in White Plains. But one of the best decisions we ever made. Congratulations, Laura. So if we could have one last round of applause for all of our tenure candidates. And we're not quite done yet because the board has to do the official work of this, which we'll do momentarily. You do have to listen to me a little bit more, so hang on.
Well, I'll let Dr. Byrne take a sip of water so after all that talking, but I would say one of the best nights alongside of having kids come and talk to us about what they're learning and doing in school is the night of tenure and celebrating our teachers. So we cannot express how wonderful it is, and so wonderful to be all back in person doing this with all of you. So congratulations. And now we'll move on to the report of the superintendent.
Okay, good evening, and thank you for joining us for our May 17th Board of Education meeting. Today is the day of the annual school district budget vote and Board of Education election. So if you haven't yet voted, and those at home, if you haven't yet voted, please come on down to the Rye Middle School gym and vote. The polls are open until 9 p.m. this evening, and there is plenty of parking available in the middle school parking lot. I will send out an email later this evening with the results, so keep an eye out for that. There have been a number of events that have taken place since our last meeting. Milton had their annual beloved Three Piggy Opera, the 4th grade Colonial Day, and the 2nd grade Wax Museum. Midland had the Vanover Caravan come to visit and held the annual Son's Choice Dance. Osborne School held their annual Japan Day and Book Fair events. Actually, Midland also had their Japan Day today. There have been spring vocal, orchestra, and band concerts galore. Last Thursday was the Rye Middle School Garnet and Black Field Day. A good time was had by all, and we thank the Rye PD for coming out and participating in all the events. The kids were thrilled to have them there. At the high school, the seniors in the academy held a symposium showcasing their projects this past Thursday evening. They had a great turnout, and it was so interesting to see and hear from them about all of their projects and their research. I was truly impressed by their poise in discussing their work. You could truly see that they were passionate about their topics and their projects. That same night, we then celebrated 16 high school athletes who are committing to playing sports at the collegiate level. And Friday was the last day on campus for our seniors as they departed for their senior internships. Friday night was the junior prom. That was an amazing success, so thank you to all the parent volunteers and teachers who served as chaperones, making it a very special night for our juniors. The end-of-year activities will continue over the next month. Yesterday, we sent out end-of-year calendars to parents at the elementary, middle, and high schools to help them keep track of all the events. I highly recommend printing them out and taping them to the fridge. They're also posted on the homepage of the district website for all to refer to. On May 12th, Rye High School senior Sean Yu was named one of 20 Presidential Scholars in the Arts in the 58th class of Presidential Scholars. The White House Commission on Presidential Scholars selects scholars annually based on their academic success, artistic and technical excellence, essays, school evaluations and transcripts, as well as demonstrated commitment to community service and leadership. The 161, and this is across the country, 2022 U.S. Presidential Scholars include one young man and one young woman from each state, the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, as well as 15 chosen at large, 20 scholars in the arts, 20 scholars in career and technical education.
So I think before you move on, that deserves a round of applause, even though Sean's not here.
Sean is an incredibly talented cellist and studies at the Juilliard pre-college program. He is the winner of numerous competitions and has been featured as a soloist at the New York International Chamber Orchestra at Carnegie Hall. At the age 12, Sean was accepted into the Perlman Music Program, where he spends 7 weeks every summer intensively studying chamber music, solo performance, and orchestral music under the tutelage of Itzhak Perlman. Sean and the 160 other presidential scholars will be recognized in an online ceremony over the summer. A big congratulations to Sean, his parents, and all of his teachers for this incredibly prestigious recognition. And that wonderful note concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you very much. And before we move on to our next agenda item, I just wanted to point out another Distinguished Service Award that was given out last week to Dr. Eric Byrne from the Lower Hudson Council of School Superintendents. And the nominees for this award contribute service to the Lower Hudson Council of School Superintendents, commitment and support of public education at all times. The nominees stand taken by action, public utterances, and written statements for the betterment of the educational opportunities of children. They are always interested in the absolute welfare of children, and they support local, state, and national education organizations and their leadership activities within these organizations. So I just wanted to point out that Dr. Byrne was honored with this Distinguished Service Award last week by the Lower Hudson Council of School Superintendents.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, moving on, we have our, since we do not have a presentation and discussion, we have the hearing of the public on any non-agenda items. So we welcome and encourage our community members to address the board at this time. Please come to the podium, state your name, address, and if you are representing an organization. To ensure everyone has the opportunity to speak, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. The board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a discussion, so please understand that we may not respond publicly to your comments or questions at this time. We take your comments seriously and may need more time to process and research an issue. We will ensure questions will be addressed by the appropriate staff member or possibly answered at a future board meeting. We will not entertain comments regarding individual students or district personnel, as these are protected under state and federal privacy laws. Please know that we take personnel concerns very seriously. On these matters, we would ask you to follow the appropriate administrative channels. And as a reminder, the community may submit written comments at any time to the board by sending those to rcsdboard@riseschools.org. Okay. Seeing no one approaching the podium to have any comments, we will move on to our consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Chris Repetto, seconded by Kelsey Johnson. I will go through each of the sections as we normally do to see if there are any additional comments or questions from the board before we do a final approval. So consent agenda general, fiscal construction, fiscal, professional appointments, classified appointments, and special education. Okay, so can I have, since there's no additional questions, can I have a vote on the consent agenda? All those in favor? 6-0. So as we want to point out that we just approved all of your tenure appointments on our consent agenda tonight. So we'll just go through a couple of other items of note. We have the approval also on this agenda of a gift from the Milton School PTO to support auditorium audiovisual system upgrades of $62,383.74. We also have a gift from the Midland School PTO to support bus expenses associated with the upcoming field trips of $5,000. And we just approved a $50,000 gift from Giving Grousbeck Fazzolari to support the Academy at Rye High School. I don't know that there's any additional items to note from the consent agenda. So we're going to move on to talk about policies, which you are all more than welcome to sit and listen to if you'd like. Or if you want to go home and celebrate, you're more than welcome to do that too. I just want to let you know that's what's happening.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we would stay. Yeah. What are we looking for? No, I know. Somebody just told me they were coming in. 823. Coming in hot. They're my friends. Come on.
What are we up to now? 810?
3.
What? 803.
He said 2, but I had a friend who just came.
All right, there you
So
go.
we're
You're already in. Well, we're fine.
Wanted to stay for policy.
Shocking.
They clearly didn't watch last week's meeting. Tomorrow, get them excited. We can see the real rubber in the road.
I see.
Oh. Okay, so now we will move on to presentation and discussion 2, which is a second reading of 3 policies that we already talked about in our last meeting, but we need to have our second reading, so I will turn the floor over to Jane.
Policy extraordinaire. Good evening. So yes, we have already discussed these 3 policies to give you the extremely condensed version. The first is consent agenda 2341-1. This change in the policy is just kind of condensing it and removing language based on the way in which we are currently conducting the review of our consent agendas. I received no feedback from the board, so this policy will move forward for approval at our next meeting, unless there is comment now. Seeing none, we will move on. 5450.1, notification of sex offenders. Again, this is updating language in here to reflect current language related to the district's Freedom of Information officer, and also to move and include and increase the scope of the superintendent's notification systems and whom he is or she would be required to notify if and when we were notified of any sex offenders entering the community. I received no feedback from the board. Seeing none tonight, we'll move this forward to the next board agenda. And last but not least, policy 7500, naming school buildings. This removed the district procedure, as the district procedure was simply a restatement of the district's current policy. We received no feedback on this change, so therefore we will move this policy forward for the next agenda for approval. We do have a meeting tomorrow, so expect more things to come next time.
Thank you very much. So do we have any communications to and from the board related to committee meetings? You want to get them?
We did have a TPS, a Traffic and Pedestrian Safety meeting last Thursday. And just as a small update from our joint meeting with the City Council, they have begun the Osborne traffic study. So that is already in motion. And I inquired at the meeting if there was a pedestrian component, and it was unclear to the chair of the committee if that was included, so he was going to check with the city. But they are collecting the data on speeds and vehicle counts at a minimum. So that's good to see some progress there. And we did have some additional comments sent in from residents in the Osborne School District, sort of reiterating the importance of that area and trying to, just as a committee, as the TPS committee, to continue to prioritize and think about it. So that was the update there.
Kelsey, do you know how long the traffic study goes for? Did they talk about that?
My experience is it would be a week or two. It's
Okay.
a short term, and so I would expect there, within a month or so, there could be some preliminary results. But the committee chair was going to follow up with the city and report back at our next meeting, so I'll let you know what comes of that.
Great. Thank you. Any other? Nothing? Okay. So then at this time, we will recess to review the results of the Board of Education election and budget vote, which won't be for a little while, but we'll recess for now, and then we will reconvene as soon as that vote count is completed. So can I get a motion to recess? Chris Repetto, seconded by Vivek Kamath. All those in favor? 6-0. We'll be back. So I'm going to ask for a motion to reconvene the meeting. Chris Repetto, seconded by Vivek Kamath. All those in favor? 6-0. We will now have our district clerk, Laura McGowan, a report on the election and budget vote results, the unofficial election and budget vote results.
Yes, okay. So the tonight's results were for the candidate and results. Jane Anderson received 864 votes. Jennifer Boyle received 879 votes. For the Proposition 1 budget, there were 871 yes votes. We received 187 no votes. For Proposition 2, capital project, we received 961 yes votes, 98 no votes, and those are all the votes.
Okay, great.
All right.
So those will then be certified by the county, and we'll accept them at a later date once that is completed. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you, Colleen.
Yes, thank you. So just want to thank all of the members of the community who came out and voted in this year's budget vote and Board of Education trustee election. We thank the community for its support of the district and for your confidence in us as continued stewards of your tax dollars. Thank you to our superintendent, Dr. Byrne, and Gabby Petruccio, and the entire administration for working so hard and to carefully develop this budget and maintain a solid program that supports all students. And I think that brings us to the end of our meeting. Yes. So can I have a motion to adjourn? Chris Repetto, seconded by Kelsey Johnson. All those in favor? 6-0. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on June 7th for our next Board of Education meeting. Good night.